Dear learners, welcome to the MOOC on Philosophical Foundation of Education. This is the first video presentation of the second module, Philosophy of Vedic Education. So in the earlier module, you have learned about the basic concept of philosophy, branches of philosophy, how philosophy is linked with science and education. You have also learned about the meaning of educational philosophy and how philosophy influences education. This is the basic concept or thing you have understood. But besides that, as a learner of educational philosophy, you must know about the Indian as well as the Western philosophies of the world. This module is all about the Indian philosophies. Indian philosophy is broadly classified into two systems, Astika and Nastika. The Astika systems believe in God and accept the authority of the Vedas, while the Nastika systems do not believe in Vedas, even though they may believe in God or gods. The Astika school refer mainly to 6 systems of philosophy. They are Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Yoga, Samkhya, Purva Mimamsa, and Vedanta. Nastika or the unorthodox school include Buddhism, Jainism, and Karvaka philosophies that do not accept the authority of the Vedas. Today in this video, we will be focusing on Vedanta and Samkhya philosophy. Let's start with Vedanta philosophy. Vedanta or Uttara Mimamsa is an orthodox or Astika school of Indian philosophy. Vedanta literally means end of the Vedas and refers to the Upanishads as it comes at the end of the Vedas. It is called Uttara Mimamsa, meaning later or higher inquiry, as it was concerned with the Jnanakana or Vedic knowledge part, the Upanishad, and is contrasted with Purva Mimamsa, which means former or primary inquiry, which deals with the Kamaga or ritual part of the Vedas. Vedanta is an umbrella term for many sub-traditions or is a not single doctrine. Vedanta refers to all those philosophical traditions based on the Prastantroy. The Prastantroy refers to 3 sources that contain the basic text or axioms of Hindu philosophy that includes the Upanishads, the Brahma Sutra, and the Bhagavad Gita. All the different traditions of Vedanta philosophy deals mainly with Brahman or the ultimate metaphysical reality, Atma or Jivatma, the individual soul or the self, and Prakriti, the empirical world, and the physical universe or the body and matter. However, the different traditions differ in their views regarding the concept and relation between them. We can discuss some of the famous sub-traditions of school of Vedanta philosophy. First is Advaita. Advaita means absence of duality. It advocates non-dualism or monism. This school believes in the unity or openness of existence. Brahman is the only unchanging metaphysical reality and identical to Atma. The physical world, which is always changing, is Maya. Everything is either Brahman or projection of Brahman. The individual souls, Atma, are also the Brahman only. There is no duality or no limited individual soul, Atma or Jivatma, and no separate, unlimited cosmic soul. All souls and existence across space and time is the same and one monism. Spiritual liberalism comes through this full comprehension and realization of oneness. Second one is Visishta Daita. Visishta Daita means distinguished non-dualism or qualified non-dualism. Saint Ramanujacharya was the chief proponent of this school. According to this school, there are 3 ultimate realities: Brahman, Ishvara, the soul, Chitta, and Nasar, the or matter, Asita. It acknowledges Brahman as the supreme reality but differs from Advaita by attributing condition and qualities to Brahman. Individual souls and nature are projection of Ishvara, but they are not mere illusion. They are dependent realities while Ishvara is an independent reality. Third one is Daita or dualism. Daita means duality. This school was founded by Madhavacharya. According to this school, Brahman is the highest supreme reality which was eternal, independent and universal, while his creation represented the dependent reality. Brahman and the world are two equally real entities and not related in any way. Brahman or God has created this world and the world stands separate from God and in an inferior position to God with no link between the two. God or Brahmana controls the whole world and the world events. Then fourth one is Udbahita Daita. Udbahita Daita or pure monism was founded by Sri Vallabhacharya. This school believes that Brahman and the individual souls have the same essence and represent the same reality, but they are not the same because Brahmana is the whole while the soul are his parts. Brahmana is a Sata, truth, Sita, pure consciousness and Ananda, bliss. Maya is the power of Brahman and not unreal. Brahman is both the creator and the created. All things that arise from him are eventually withdrawn by him into himself at the end of creation. Then fifth one is Veda. Veda means difference and non-difference and is more tradition than a school of Vedanta. The school of this tradition emphasizes that the individual self, Jivatma, is both different and non-different from Brahmana. Now let us discuss Vedanta philosophy in terms of metaphysics. According to Vedanta philosophy, there are three fundamental metaphysical categories. They are the Brahmana or the God, which is the ultimate reality. Second one is Atma or Jivatma, which refers to the individual soul or self, and Prakriti or Jagat, which is the empirical world, ever-changing physical universe, body and matter. Shankaracharya proposed two conceptions of Brahman. First is Para Brahman, which is called higher or Nirguna, without qualities. It is absolute and transcendental. Then second one is Apara Brahmana, that is the lower or Saguna, which is with qualities. It represents a personal God. Ramanujacharya rejected Nirguna Brahmana, emphasizing Ishvara, the personal God, as the sole reality, whereas Madhavacharya advocated Vishnu as the supreme Brahma, while Nivakara accepted Brahman as both Nirguna and Saguna. Vedantic school differ on the relation between Atma and Brahmana. Like in the advocation of Advaita, Atma and Brahman are identical. According to Vishishtadaita, Atma is distinct but connected to Brahman. According to Daita, Atma is entirely different from Brahman, whereas Sudhavaita, Atma and Brahma are identical. So it is the fundamental question about existence, reality and nature of the cosmos if we discuss Vedanta in terms of metaphysics. It posits the ultimate reality. Brahman is infinite, eternal and beyond sensory perception, forming the substratum of all existence. The world of appearances, that is the Maya, is seen as transient and illusory, often described as a cosmic veil that obscures the true nature of reality. The concept of karma and the cycle of birth and rebirth are integral to its metaphysical framework, emphasizing that liberation from his cycle comes through transcending the ignorance. Vedanta's metaphysical insight aim to harmonize the physical and spiritual dimension of existence, offering a unified of the cosmos and the individual's place within it. So this is about metaphysics in terms of Vedanta. Now what it says in terms of epistemology. In Indian philosophies, epistemology or the means or valid knowledge refers to the pramana. So according to Vedanta, the different school of Vedanta accept different pramanas to be the epistemologically valid truth. So this is all about Vedanta philosophy. Now move forward to the another Astic school of philosophy, that is the Samkhya philosophy. So Samkhya philosophy can be considered as a journey of dualism and interplay between two important aspects. It is a foundational system in high Indian thought. A distinguished Indian sage named Kapila was the founder of the Samkhya philosophy. Samkhya explores the nature of reality, the distinction between consciousness or spirit, which is called as Purusha, and the nature or matter, which is called as Prakriti, and how they interact to create the world we experience. Through this video, you will be able to understand and explore the Samkhya's core principles and their impact on the other philosophies like yoga. Foundation of Samkhya, the teaching of sage Kapila. So, Samkhya philosophy is attributed to the sage Kapila, who is revered as its founder, as we have already mentioned. His teachings, traditionally presented in the Samkhya Karika, outline the foundational principles of this school of thought. The Samkhya Karika is a concise treatise that lays out the core concept of Samkhya, emphasizing the duality of Purusha and Prakriti and their interplay in the creation of this world that we experience where we live. Samkhya philosophy combines the basic doctrine of Samkhya and yoga. Samkhya represents the theory and the yoga represent the application part or the practical part. Samkhya is a Sanskrit word which means number. This school of philosophy might have got this name since it specifies the number and nature of the ultimate constituents of the universe, and thereby it imparts knowledge of reality. The term Samkhya also means perfect knowledge, Samkhya Khyati. This philosophy stresses jnana or knowledge as the only means of liberation. Hence, it is a system of perfect knowledge. Now let's discuss Samkhya and the theory of reality or existence, which we call as metaphysics. Samkhya philosophy believes that the universe consists of two realities, Prakriti, that is the matter, and Purusha, that is the spirit or consciousness. Thus, Samkhya is a philosophy of dualistic realism. Prakriti is singular and Purushas are numerous. Both are eternal and independent of each other. Creation results from a conjunction of Prakriti and Purusha. That means the world is the product of interplay between this Prakriti and Purusha. Now let's discuss in detail about the Purusha. It is called as the eternal, unchanging consciousness. So, from the perspective of passive observer, Purusha is not an active participant in the world, but rather a pure observer, free from the limitations and transformation of the material world. As a source of awareness, we can consider Purusha is the source of all awareness, consciousness, and perception. But it remains unaffected by the world's experience. Now, what is Prakriti? As we can determine or define it as the dynamic, evolving nature or matter. So, from the perspective of material realm, we can say that Prakriti represents the material world encompassing all forms of nature, matter, and the forces that govern their interactions. From the perspective of dynamic and evolving aspect, we can consider Prakriti is constantly evolving and transforming. It is subject to the laws of nature and the interplay of its constituent elements. We should remember that there are three gunas of Prakriti. What are they? They are sattva, rajas, and tamas. Sattva includes light, godness, and intelligence, which we can consider as the form of pleasures. Then rajas includes energy, fashion, and activity. Then tamasa includes inertia, dullness, and ignorance, which can be considered as the obstacles. So Prakriti is composed of these three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. These three qualities constantly interact, driving the cycle of creation and dissolution. Now, what are the main focus of Samkhya philosophy? The main focus of Samkhya philosophy is dualism. So we can find distinction between this Purusha and Prakriti. So Prakriti or Purusha, if we have to differentiate between these two, we can say that the Purusha, the eternal, unchanging and passive consciousness representing the pure observer or witness of the world. Whereas Prakriti is the dynamic, evolving and active principle representing the material world, nature and the forces that govern it. Again, we can also differentiate between these two as Prakriti is the object of knowledge, while Purusha is the knower. Prakriti is unconscious, whereas Purusha is conscious. Prakriti is not produced, but it produces. On the contrary, Purusha is neither produced nor does it produce. It is absolute, independent, free, imperceptible, or unknowable. It is also uncaused, eternal, immutable, and above any experience and beyond any words or explanation. We can say it as a beyond time, space, and causality. It remains pure, non-attributive consciousness. So from this discussion, we can find out the core distinction between this Prakriti and Purusha. Now, what are the interplay? How these two interplay to make the real world? The interaction between Purusha and Prakriti is the key to understand the Samkhya worldview. That means Samkhya philosophy's main focus is the interplay between this Purusha and Prakriti. Prakriti in its dynamic state is influenced by the presence of Purusha, leading to the creation of the world and individual experiences. However, Purusha remains detached, witnessing the play of Prakriti without being affected by it, leading to the concept of liberation. Now, after discussing the core concept of Samkhya philosophy, it is very essential for you to understand and to identify the tattvas. What are the tattvas that are related to Samkhya philosophy? There are 24 tattvas or realities emerge or evolve out of Prakriti. In conjunction with Purusha or the individual soul, the number becomes 25. So we can say that Samkhya philosophy has 25 tattvas. What are they? Let's discuss. First is Purusha, the absolute knower which is eternal, without a cause and irreversible. Then Prakriti, the primordial and ultimate cause which underlies the existence of the physical world. The third one is Mahata, which is the first great reality of emerge of Prakriti. It has a universal aspect as the resource of the world and the physical aspect as intelligence or buddhi in the living beings. The other tattvas are ahankara or the motive ego or I sense. Then manasa or physical mind or brain where thoughts and determinations originate. Then among the 25 tattvas we have 5 panchendriyas or the sense organs. The auditory sense, karna, the thermal sense, taka, the visual sense, sakshu, the gustatory sense, jibha, and the olfactory sense, nasa. Then we have 5 karmendriya or the organ of action. They are vocal organ, vaka, manual organ, panila, organ of locomotion, pada, excremal organ, payu, and the genital organ, upasta. Then we have again 5 tanmantras or subtle elements. They are smela, gondha, taste, rasa, light, rupa, thermala, sparsha, and sound, that is sabda. And again we have 5 mahabhutas or gross element, namely akasha, sky, vayu, that is air, tejas, that is fire, apa, water, and prithvi, that is the earth. So these are the 25 tattvas of Samkhya philosophies. These 25 tattvas are the evolutes of Prakriti. The Mahat is the first reality. From buddhi, ahankara, or the feeling of individuality or ego evolves. Up to this, the tattvas are subtle. But from here on gross, from ego evolved the brain, manasa, the 5 senses, gyanendriyas, and the 5 organ of action, karmendriyas. The 5 subtle essence, tanmantras, and the object of the senses, and the 5 gross element, mahabhutas. Mahat, ahankara, and the 5 tanmantras are both cause and effect. The rest are effects only. Now we can discuss the theoretical foundation of other systems like yoga. On the first part of this video, we have discussed that this Samkhya philosophy has so many implications on other philosophy like yoga, which is very important nowadays and which is considered one of the important philosophy. So yoga's root can be considered as the Samkhya philosophy. Samkhya provides the theoretical framework for yoga, a system of physical, mental, and spiritual practices. Yoga aims to liberate the individual from the cycle of suffering by achieving union with Purusha, drawing upon the Samkhya understanding of Purusha and Prakriti. Samkhya provides the philosophical framework as well as the base for Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. While Samkhya emphasizes theory, yoga focuses on practical methods to achieve liberation such as meditation, ethical conduct, and self-discipline, which can be added for the discussion. Samkhya has so many influence on the other Indian philosophies like metaphysics and spiritual practices deeply. Its focus on the separation of consciousness and matter has parallels in many modern scientific and philosophical discussion about the nature and existence and self. So, on the basis of this discussion in this video, we can understand the core principle of Samkhya philosophy. By exploring the key concept of Purusha and Prakriti, their interplay, and the quest for liberation, we gain a deeper understanding of the Samkhya philosophy. Its influence extends beyond its own system, offering valuable insight into the nature of consciousness, the material world, and the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment. In summary, we can say that Samkhya philosophy provides a profound dualistic framework that underpins Indian philosophy, emphasizing the role of knowledge in achieving ultimate freedom or ultimate salvation. So we can also summarize it as that Samkhya aims to realize that Purusha, that the true self is separate from Prakriti. This realization leads to liberation, that is called as moksha from suffering and the cycle of birth and death. The Samkhya philosophy is one of the 6 major schools of Indian philosophy. It is a dualistic system, meaning it believes in 2 main realities. What are they? They are Purusha, that is the consciousness, and the Prakriti, that is the matter. The Purusha is the soul or the pure consciousness. It's eternal, unchanging, and passive. It is the observer and it doesn't engage in any action. Whereas Prakriti, that is the matter, is the source of all the physical and mental creation. This is the nature or the material world. And Samkhya philosophy is considered as the dualism between this Prakriti and Purusha. It is Prakriti. We can also say that Prakriti is active, always changing, and consists of 3 qualities. That are the 3 gunas: sattva, rajas, and tamas. Sattva includes balance, light, and godness. Rajas include activity, passion, and movement. And tamas include inertia, darkness, and ignorance. So we can say that through this discussion, you will be able to understand one of the important Indian philosophy, that is Samkhya philosophy, as the interplay between Purusha and Prakriti. Thank you.